The hall erupted in stunned disbelief. The Fire Hall Master's personal invitation wasn't merely an opportunity, it was the kind of divine chance that cultivators dreamed of their entire lives. Zane had not only failed to catch it, but he had also even shielded himself in a bubble. Was there something wrong with his brain?
Has Zane completely lost his mind? Is there nothing but empty space between his ears?
Pure arrogance, that's what it is. He probably thinks he can master the Deca of Fire and reach Marshal King level without the Hallmaster's guidance. His ego's bigger than the mountains themselves.
This is exactly what they mean by pretentious. Someone should crack open his skull and see if it's filled with nothing but garbage.
The Fire Hall Master's face darkened like storm clouds gathering before a tempest. His previous warmth completely evaporated.
Why refuse? Have you already pledged your loyalty to another hall?
That's not the case at all. I simply cannot abandon the power of wind and thunder that I've spent so long cultivating.
Nonsense! Did my words about multiple divine tribulations fall on deaf ears? Do you think you, a mere mortal, can withstand such catastrophic power?
Raging flames, the pure manifestation of the Deca of Fire, erupted from the Hallmaster's body, swirling around him in a terrifying display of power. The heat nearly scorched Zane's forehead, causing him to frown and roll his eyes.
Even I cannot block two different divine tribulations simultaneously. Do you believe yourself superior to me?
Thank you for your concern, but perhaps I'm a genius. May be able to block it.
Genius? The Wormhaven Palace has no shortage of geniuses. You're all the same, overestimating yourselves until reality strikes. I've lost count of how many geniuses have fallen to the Marshal King level's divine tribulation.
A hint of coercion entered the Hallmaster's voice as he made one final attempt.
I'm asking you one last time, will you disperse your other powers or not?
I will not.
You've got nerve, I'll give you that. Very well. I'll stay alive just to witness your death when you attempt to break through to Marshal King level. Now get out of my sight!
As the Hallmaster stormed away, the remaining disciples exchanged knowing smirks.
Now he's done it. Offending the Fire Hall Master? His future in the sect is over.
Future? What future? If he doesn't disperse those other powers, he won't live long enough to have one.
The more you claim it's impossible, the more I'll prove you wrong. Not just one or two tribulations. I'll block all three. Thunder, fire, and wind tribulations. Just watch me overcome them all.
With determination burning in his heart, Zane made his way to the Celestial Academy. The massive structure rose before him, its 7 distinct floors reaching skyward like steps to enlightenment. Unlike other halls focused on combat, Celestial Academy served as the Wormhaven Palace's treasury of knowledge. Each floor housed specific categories. Elixir refining skills occupied the lower levels, elixir identification another, while rune communication and the Book of Demonic Beasts filled others. Even rare texts from the Zora Mountains found their home here, all freely available to any dragon envoy who wished to study them. As Zane entered, his eyes adjusted to the bright light streaming through the windows. Cultivators moved silently between towering shelves, their arms laden with ancient tomes. The Academy's most fundamental rule was clear. All books must remain within these hallowed walls.
Zane!
The familiar voice belonged to Victor Quinn, approaching from behind.
Victor? What brings you to the Academy?
Research. I heard about the lecture. About how mastering multiple decas means facing multiple divine tribulations. Never expected such a cruel twist of fate.
A shadow crossed Victor's face as he considered their shared predicament as willpower mutators.
Tell me you're not planning to disperse your extra powers?
Of course not. We're willpower mutators. We're meant to be different. There has to be another way, and I'm here to find it.
Then let's search together.
The two friends split up, with Victor taking the second floor's nature power text while Zane ascended to the third floor to study realm breakthrough and Marshal King divine tribulation records. Soon, they had gathered more than a dozen massive tomes, the pile reaching over a meter in height. Setting up at a reading table, they began their intensive research. For 3 days and nights, they pored over every page, Every ancient account, with each passing hour, their expressions grew more grave, their frowns deeper. The books either ignored multiple tribulations entirely or confirmed their worst fears. Survival was nearly impossible. By the fifth day, even Victor's determination began to waver. Unable to continue, he regretfully took his leave.
Is there really no other way? Must we accept this limitation?
Then, like lightning striking in a clear sky, realization dawned.
The tribulations only kill because their power exceeds the cultivator's strength. But what if? What if I became strong enough to resist them all? Not just resist, but overcome. That's it. The answer isn't to avoid the tribulations, is to become powerful enough to defeat them. Yes, I must grow stronger.
With renewed purpose, Zane decided to make the most of his time in the Academy's vast collection.
While I'm here, I should investigate those mysterious runes from the semi-dragon's finger bone.
Carefully, he withdrew a piece of paper bearing the strange symbols he'd worked so hard to record. Even now, just looking at these runes caused a dull ache in his head. Their willpower isolating properties, making them difficult to study for any length of time. After a while, Zane ascended to the fourth floor. His footsteps echoed softly against worn stone steps as he pursued his relentless search for knowledge about mystical runes. The primordial markings etched into the fingerbone had led him to focus specifically on the most ancient texts. These weathered tomes, their pages brittle with age, held secrets that had largely been forgotten by the modern world.
These runes are unlike anything I've seen in the common texts. I must delve deeper into the ancient records.
2 exhausting days had passed, each hour spent meticulously examining countless texts. Despite his tireless efforts, Zane had only managed to decipher 1/10 of the mysterious inscriptions. Yet even this small victory proved hollow. The translated portion was utterly incomprehensible, like scattered pieces of a puzzle that refused to form a coherent picture. Finally, his determination giving way to exhaustion, Zane decided to return to the Newland space. But what awaited him there would send ice through his veins. There, carved into the sacred ground of Newland, was a deep sword mark, one that radiated an unmistakable aura of tremendous power. The mark bore testament to a battle of incredible ferocity, and it most certainly had not been there when he left.
What in the world? This devastation. It wasn't here before. Multiple intruders, fighting within my space. How did they breach my defenses so easily?
A cold shiver ran through Zane's body as the implications became clear. His supposedly secure sanctuary had been violated as easily as a common marketplace. The thought that unknown entities could enter and exit at will filled him with both rage and concern.
The divine trees! I must check them!
Without hesitation, Zane rushed to the canopy, his heart pounding against his ribs. There he discovered numerous 5 elements divine trees, their spiritual light pulsing steadily untouched, but their very presence a tempting target for any who might return.
The trees seemed to be undisturbed. So it wasn't Jacob Costa, unless someone intercepted him before he could complete his objective.
Standing amidst the glowing canopy, Zane's eyes hardened like steel as he surveyed his violated sanctuary. The implications of this breach weighed heavily on his mind.
An independent space can be worthless without proper protection. I need a formation powerful enough to execute anyone who dares to trespass. No more half measures.
His mind raced through the inventory of precious items within his space. The 5 elements divine trees, the rare seawater from Sky Mountain. But then, a more troubling thought emerged.
The sealed cave. Could they have been after the formation sealed cave on the mountainside?
The realization struck him like a thunderbolt. If the intruders were seeking something specific within that formation-sealed cave, they might be connected to previous dragon envoys of Newland, or perhaps to something far more ancient and dangerous.
Marshal King level practitioners. These weren't common thieves. I need to strengthen my defenses and advance my cultivation rapidly. Or I won't stand a chance against such powerful enemies.
Landing softly on the ground, Zane carefully examined the dense vines displaying their striking black and white patterns. 10 magical buds had formed, each pulsing with potential, showing promising signs of imminent maturation. However, his brow furrowed deeply as he noticed something troubling. The once strong connection between himself and the verdant frogs had weakened considerably, like a rope fraying strand by strand.
The mutation must be affecting our bond. I got to establish a new method of communication before it fully matures, or risk losing control entirely.
With renewed purpose, Zane made his way to the Scripture Hall, an imposing palace that dominated the northwest corner of the Wormhaven Palace. The massive structure stood as a testament to ancient power, protected by formations that had endured for countless generations. A semicircular shield enveloped the entire structure, crackling with raw power. Along its periphery, streaks of lightning danced and wave-like ripples pulsed rhythmically, creating an impenetrable barrier against unauthorized entry. 2 stern-faced guards in the semi-Marshal King level stood vigilant at the entrance, their very presence a warning to those who might harbor thoughts of trespassing. As one of the top 3 candidates for Dragon Envoy of Newland, Zane now possessed the privilege to access cultivation methods and martial arts techniques. However, acquiring additional skills would require substantial contribution points, a currency earned through completing palace missions or exchanging precious resources.
4 or 5 years. That's how long it takes an ordinary Dragon Envoy to accumulate enough points for a single cultivation technique. I can't afford to waste any more time.
On the second floor, countless books lined the shelves in perfect order, each containing introductions to various cultivation methods. The real techniques, of course, were stored elsewhere, protected by even more formidable security measures. Zane's eyes scanned title after title, searching for anything related to controlling demonic insects. The first book that caught his attention was The 5 Elements Demon Reigning Will. This powerful technique promised the ability to control demonic beasts below the Marshal King level, offering its master the power of life and death over such creatures with a mere thought. However,
Too limited. It's powerful, yes, but focuses on individual beasts. My needs are more specific.
after half a day of methodical searching, his persistence finally bore fruit. There, nestled between ancient tomes, was the Chaotic Insects record. As Zane began to read, his eyes widened at the depth of knowledge contained within. This wasn't merely a technique, it was a comprehensive archive of demonic insect knowledge, documenting their characteristics across various power grades. The text described different grades of demonic insects, from those commanding armies of 10,000 to the rare masters of 50,000, all the way to the legendary controllers of 1 million insects. Each level required different methods of cooperation and control.
At each grade, the intensity of control varies. The flexibility of commanding the insects changes. This could be exactly what I need. The most comprehensive archive since the beginning of history? Rather bold marketing for an ancient text.
Despite his skepticism about the grandiose description, Zane couldn't deny the depth and practicality of the knowledge contained within. The text offered exactly the kind of detailed instruction he needed for his unique situation. In the center of the main hall on the first floor, an elderly man sat in quiet meditation, his eyes slightly closed, radiating an aura of ancient wisdom. His presence commanded respect without demanding it.
Sir, I wish to exchange for this cultivation skill.
Zane stood before the ancient keeper of knowledge, holding the Chaotic Insects record. This wasn't just another cultivation technique. It represented his best chance at establishing a new connection with his evolved verdant frogs. The discovery of this text couldn't have come at a more crucial time. With unknown enemies powerful enough to breach his space, mysterious runes yet to be deciphered, and his connection to the verdant frogs weakening, Zane needed every advantage he could get.
This is just the beginning. With this knowledge, I'll not only restore my control over the verdant frogs, but strengthen it beyond anything my enemies might expect.